there everyone, this is Mr. P with Mr. P Explores, and tonight I'm coming to you with a very special episode that goes a little beyond our usual exploration adventures. Several weeks back, in mid-May, we went to the old Baltimore and Ohio Roundhouse in Cleveland, Ohio, for an event known as the Paranormal Night at the Roundhouse. For those of you not up on your train vernacular, a roundhouse is a giant building that old trains and locomotives would park inside for repairs, and where a giant movable turntable would connect different tracks to move the trains from section to section. This particular roundhouse is owned and maintained by the Midwest Railway Preservation Society, and in an effort with ORBS, ORBS, Ohio Researchers of Banded Spirits, a local paranormal research group out of Clyde, Ohio, they put on an event for outsiders to come and experience some of the haunted train cars and areas that the roundhouse is infamous for. Lucky for me, I was able to secure a ticket and be a part of the actual investigation at the roundhouse. And you couldn't have asked for a better night for an event like this, because just as it was beginning to get dark, thunderstorms and a ton of rain hit the downtown Cleveland area. It totally ratcheted up the ambiance and made for a perfect environment for trying to capture ghosts on the equipment that Orbs brought with them. 3 locations were hit up by the team on this particular night. The tragic death car, where 27 people met a pretty gruesome end. The Baxter car, where supposedly the spirit of an old woman who died in her sleep still communicates with anyone willing to stick around to listen. And the old supply building, where a spirit named Paul still does his job for the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. We were able to sit through and participate in the investigations for each area with some pretty awesome results. That being the case, this exploration will take us through at least 2 of those sessions, the death car and the supply building. Lighting was hard to come by, but I did my best to try and capture what was going on with the gear that the Orbs team brought along. So follow along into the roundhouse as we check out the otherworldly history still lingering within this historic Cleveland Railway landmark. The first stop on our night's adventure was that of the 1943 Death Car. One of the members of the MRPS, Steve Karpos, told the story much better than the version that I'm going to quickly lay down for you here, but I'll try my best. The story begins in August of that year, 1943. World War II was in full swing. The story involves an eerie Lackawanna passenger train coming out of New York City, heading for Chicago. The line was running 20 minutes late, which is a huge negative hit in the railroad world, and so the engineer at the helm kicked his engine into overdrive, hurtling the steam locomotive along at 70 miles per hour along the upstate New York line. Nearing Buffalo, another train had been accidentally moved out onto the main line, as the folks in charge there had thought the westbound train had already passed. The late locomotive came around the bend at 70 miles per hour and careened into the other train, which was just starting to come out onto the line. The collision was catastrophic, as the 2 powerful locomotives slammed together. 171 people died or were seriously injured that day as a result of the disaster. Those who did not die directly from the impact died when one passenger car connected to the speeding Lackawanna locomotive flew off the tracks, turned over, slid across the ground, and finally came to rest next to the locomotive they had rammed. Most of the people in that car would have survived the wreck if not for one thing. The boiler on the rammed engine blew up, spewing superheated steam into the wrecked passenger car, boiling the lungs from the inside out of the people still inside struggling to escape. 27 victims, ranged from age 5 to 84, faced a hideous and painful death that was not quick. Fast forward to 2013, when the MRPS, which restores and works on old train cars for other companies and owners, was giving the old car a fresh coat of paint and a much-needed repair to bring it back to its former glory. According to the individuals who worked on the car, all manner of strange occurrences would happen aboard it, and eventually it was believed that there were 17 different spirit entities, all victims of a disaster that happened many, many decades before, still on board. As a result, the car gained its now famous moniker, the Death Car. Even though at first the activity was unnerving to some who worked inside of it, the volunteers eventually realized that the ghosts they were dealing with were not at all harmful, and were just part of the history of the car. MRPS has had multiple paranormal groups, including Orbs, in to investigate the Death Car, and some have picked up some extremely interesting phenomenon. Things moving, people being touched, windows opening and closing, and a host of other incidents have added up. The night we were there, we were treated to the usage of an Xbox Kinect, which in a fairly new and unorthodox use of the popular video game console, enables the sensors of the Kinect to pick up not only a live person using connected dots, but forms and patterns of things that the unaided eye can't even see. The following video segments are the experiences we had with the Kinect and what was picked up in the death car. Judge for yourself, but the car did get extremely hot, hotter than it ever should have been, even with our group inside on a stormy Cleveland night. Ghostly forms of the victims of a horrible disaster? You be the judge.
This is the death car that we're in, the one that they were talking about where the other train hit it and it was actually the steam killed them from that. Where was it? This is the whole car. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the whole train.
The whole train, this whole, alright. So what we're going to do in here is what they were talking about. We're going to do the Connect system. We're going to try to see if we can get anybody to like see little stick figures. We're going to start asking direct questions. This one, on this one, you can ask like any type of question. There are some equipment that we'll see later on that are specific to yes or no. You can ask anything, and then after a little bit, we're going to have people go up there, and you'll actually get a chance to kind of go up there and see if you can kind of have something come up towards you and touch you, or come stand next to you, and we'll be able to see it. And I don't know, what's your name? Jenny. Jenny. Say Jenny's up there, and I know you three are together. If you guys anybody wants to record this, you can record that. Or any of you guys that go up there, if somebody's with the family, they want to record this. We've gotten some really cool, like there. See how Brian? Stay right there.
Are you guys familiar with the Connect system? You guys watch some of the ghost shows? Yeah. What it's doing, it's actually mapping in 3D. We're using the Xbox Connect, and we have programs that we modify that changes everything. So now it's actually reading him as a stick figure right there. And what we're looking for is another stick figure that may pop up that's nobody standing there, obviously. So what it's doing is actually looking for anything that may look like a human, like a human form, and that's what it's picking up. So it's right now it's shooting out thousands of IR lights that you can't visibly see. He may see it, I think he's got an IR camera there, but your eyes can't see it, but that's actually shooting back and making it into 3D. So you may have to move up here, because you're sitting right in the Connect way.
Last time we had it, while they were setting it up, they actually had people sitting in seats.
Good, right.
We had people like, it looked like they were sitting on top of here and stuff and playing, so.
All right.
Can you come out and play with us?
The last time we did this here, we were actually, Todd and I were tearing this down, and we had no activity the whole time, and then all of a sudden 2 of them popped up in the seats. One actually looked like it was putting luggage back up on the rack. Like he was doing a residual. There's a spirit here right now. Can you show yourself? Yeah, what we're looking for is color. You'll see a color pop up, and you'll see a red stick figure pop up.
Yep.
Right now, what's flashing is it's just picking up in 3D. It's picking up that image.
Kind of like when Brian was up there. If you guys see one of those stick figures up there now, you'll know that there's right there.
Right there.
Right there's one.
Oh.
Anybody want to ask a quick question?
Are you a female?
Looks like it's all mangled.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sitting like that?
Looks like he's trapped.
Yeah.
It could be reliving that accident.
Yeah, it looks like he's trapped.
He's struggling.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Can you wave?
Are you hurt?
I feel heat.
Can you feel the steam?
I feel like hot air on my face. Are you in pain?
Oh, he's gone. Actually, Brian just put a...
Ever heard of a Tesla coil?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little mini version.
Okay.
I put it in that seat right there.
And what the Tesla
And it-
coil, oh, go ahead.
It
You're
just
telling me.
basically it pumps electricity, electricity in the air.
And spirits use that to manifest.
Yeah, it helps, because they need energy to manifest, so that just helps put energy in the atmosphere for them to use.
Can you come back?
Is
Do
there
some of that.
is there anyone else here? We're not here to hurt you. I promise we're not going to hurt you. We just want to know your story.
Does someone want to go up there and stand up there? There you go, get him on. So he was, right about, yeah, right about, there, up, further up, come towards us a little bit. Yeah, he's right next to you, right in that area, so.
I've got my stuff.
And remember, you may not,
Oh, it's
so it's picking him up,
Yeah,
that's him.
that's him.
Oh, it's
Uh,
right in front of him.
No, that was him. It's picking. It's actually. It's gonna pick him up. You may not. We may not see nothing here, but you may feel stuff. Because last time we had people feeling stuff over there.
Alright.
So kind of pay attention to your
Like really
surroundings
hot over there.
when you ask
It is,
questions.
it got real hot. Yeah.
Got really hot
You're
over
still
there.
here?
Yeah.
Maybe like hold your hand down, see if they'll touch
Take
your
the camera,
hand.
move out
Can you
now.
touch my hand?
Over here.
That can be what they call residual too. That since it's hot, a
I'm
lot of
still
times
here.
this one's hotter just because it was, basically, essentially they boiled to death from the inside out.
Is it in the seat?
Yeah, he's like right in that area where you're at.
Yeah. Almost like he was between them, like he was
Look.
trapped.
Oh, it's back.
He's
Yeah,
There he is in
running.
the front seat.
Oh.
Yeah,
He's right in the front seat of you.
Yep.
Right
Can you
here?
feel
To
anything?
your
Yep.
left hand, yes.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Does it feel cold?
No, over the seat. Ooh, he just touched you. He just touched your arm. He's reaching over
It's
the
like
seat.
he's reaching for you.
Yeah, it's like he's reaching for help.
Like he's stuck between the seats.
You need help?
Put your arm over that seat. Over,
Yeah,
over
yep.
the top of it. Over
Oh,
the
he
top.
just
Yep.
did, yeah.
There you are. He's right,
right
in front of you,
there.
right below you, actually.
He's reaching for you.
Yeah,
Yep.
he is.
Like help. Do you need our help?
Can you stick your hand up and touch his if you need help?
Take my hand.
I'm getting chills just looking at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you stuck?
Can you touch him?
Can you stand up?
Do we need to open the window?
Do you feel anything?
Can you make a sound?
Still there.
Does he
Oh, yeah,
stop
he's
moving?
Oh, yeah.
He looks like he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
you
was
said
No
thinking.
pun intended, but.
Oh, there it
This,
is.
this one's different. Like
Arms
he's not
moving.
moving as much.
Mm-mm.
Like it's a
It's like
different
really
spirit.
weird.
Look, he's trying to reach for the
Like
window, though.
his head is like tipped sideways.
Yeah.
The head's supposed to be the top part there. Maybe step
Should I
forward,
try sitting across from him?
or step forward a little bit.
Step forward?
Yeah.
See
I
if
see
he,
something there.
well, you're right next
Right
to him.
next to him, yeah.
Let me see where you're at. Yeah, he's right there, right where you're at.
Here?
Yep,
Yep, right
yeah,
there.
you're right on him.
Yep, your hand's right above him.
Can you reach down in the seat?
Sitting in the seat or?
He's
No,
leaning
he-
towards you now.
Looks like he's standing there.
Hey, Carla, can you move your arm back a little bit? Thank you.
Right here?
He
Yep.
looks like
Do you
he's
feel
still-
anything different there, or?
It looks like he's just kind of going down farther and farther though in the chair.
It's like cool, but I don't know if it's just my imagination.
He's going into your pockets, man.
Yes.
Like,
Camera.
it's
Yeah,
actually-
it's-
The
it's
black's
like
getting
it's kicking
blurry
you.
when I
I
go
was
at
gonna
the
say, it's a
screen.
good thing my wife
Yeah.
has my money.
Yeah.
Looks like he's like kicking you or something.
Yeah, your left leg.
Blurs out.
Do you feel anything on your left leg?
No.
Is he waving?
With his leg, it looks like he is.
He's touching the TV.
He's like all over the place.
Can you stand in front of him?
It's like he doesn't have a head.
Yeah, his head is actually, I don't want to move too much, but you'll see the piece that's facing that way.
Yeah,
Reach for the window now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like he's trying to shut the window.
yeah.
I see
He may be
some
reliving
light
that moment.
flickering. Yeah, there's a light flickering.
What's that?
There was like a light flickering.
In here?
Yeah, in the
Really?
TV.
Oh, it looks like he's kneeling.
Yeah, he's doing some
It's
weird
like,
stuff.
yeah, just like all crunched up in a ball.
Maybe reach out to him, see
I
if
wonder
he'll
if
touch
there's
you.
not two of them.
Can you touch me?
Back here. Maybe I
Go
can
over
catch
the chair.
something else.
Oh, yeah, like right above him now.
Can you touch me?
Oh, he
He
just
just
touched
touched
you.
your hand.
Did you feel anything on your left hand?
He's still trying to reach
He's
for
still-
you.
Yeah,
Reach
he's
your
put
hand
your
down,
hand
Put your
John.
hand down
Lower
lower.
it.
Yeah, lower.
In front of the
In front
In
of
front,
the
go
seats.
over, no, the other way.
Yeah,
This
come
way.
into
Yep,
the other
right
side.
there.
There, he's
There
in
you
there. There you go.
Yeah, there.
Can you touch me again?
He's touching you.
Yeah.
You don't feel it?
He's holding on to you. It's like he's resting his head on your arm.
Oops,
Yeah.
I'm losing you. There.
Well, at least his head's up right now.
That's like, I don't know, it's like,
He's touching the window.
and he's like
Yeah,
sitting
see the
really
flickering.
weird.
He's trying to open the window, it looks like. Yeah.
Or close it.
Trying to close. Looks like
You
he's
don't
trying to
feel
close it.
anything, any cold?
Now, why
or-
does his hand turn blue when it's in the area where?
What's that? Because it's going in that direction. Because it's mapping that area as a blue, and it's mapping him as green, and he's going into the blue area. So it's transferring to that blue.
It's coming. He's coming closer to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's moving over here. Nope, he's
Oh,
gone.
it's
Point
not
the
now.
camera there.
Shoot.
There she is.
Oh.
Right up on
That
top.
was weird.
Yeah, it's like a small child.
He was to this side here.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, I thought I seen something up here too. And I felt cold spots.
What is your name?
Well, there it is
There
again.
is again.
Oh,
There
he
it
just,
is.
he just
Yeah.
left, and you turned green.
He's coming back.
Where the hell was he at?
So where's one now? Yeah.
There
There
you
he
are.
is.
There he is to your right.
Like a little kid.
Are you a
Like
child?
climbing up the wall.
That is crazy.
How old are you?
The
What's your name?
lady up in front.
Oh, there it is again.
Oh, where? There it goes.
Yeah.
She knew that.
Blinking.
It's
You
off.
put your arm out that
Yeah,
way, it
to your
seems to
right.
come out.
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
And Chris has got a list of names too, that he could read out.
Do you wanna read out the names?
I know the last time we were here, the 9-year-old from Nicholas, New York, her name was Elizabeth, or she went by Betty. Elizabeth Andrews.
Is that you, Elizabeth?
And it must have been her mother, Marion Andrews. She was 37. What about a William Davy, 74, out of Granton, New York? We have a Mary Amen, 84, out of Cleveland. Mary, are you with us? We have a Margaret Fledge, 26, out of Brooklyn, New York. Are you with us, Margaret? The youngest, 5 years old, out of Cleveland, was Mary Garmbach. Mary Ann, are you here?
Mary Ann?
Oop,
There
he's
it is.
There it
he's
is.
on your side,
There it is.
on your left side. Right?
No,
Right
your,
side.
your
Yep,
right
yep.
side.
Your right
Right side,
shoulder
right
on top of the seat.
Yeah, it's like a kid.
He's
Yeah,
floating.
it does.
Over here?
Yep, straight up.
Straight up. Kind of by
Oh,
where the
he's gone.
It's
hanger.
almost like they're trying to climb on top of the rack.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to get away from the windows.
Yeah.
So that was Mary Ann Garmbach, Garmboc. How about Agnes Hodge, 32, out of New York City.
Oh,
Yep.
so next, unless it's trying to pick her up. Hold on.
How about Dorothy Middleton, mother of 5, 33 out of Buffalo?
All right, we're gonna have to go. Thank you guys for coming out and showing yourselves.
After the death car, our group moved on to the old Baltimore and Ohio supply building on the MRPS grounds. There we tried to communicate with a spirit who has been documented as a man named Paul in former investigations. Was he a worker? Nobody's really sure. Using a flashlight, the spirit was able to turn it on and off with no one around the actual flashlight, answering our questions in a yes or no fashion depending on the questions asked. The following are clips of that discussion. Again, you be the judge, but no one was touching or was around the flashlight in question when this footage was taken. It was directly to my left, resting on an old metal table.
And then we've got flashlight. We're gonna do this when we get to this. These will be direct yes or no questions. Anytime you're asking a question, anybody can ask questions when we're using this, but allow at least 20 seconds before, if you hear somebody ask a question, at least 20 seconds before you would do something, because it takes them a lot of energy to be able to answer back.
No, just to the air. I don't want it to up in the air to hit somebody in the eye. 'Cause
I can't remember the guy's name. If there's anybody in here with us tonight, can you come touch this purple light? Or the flashlight, thank you.
hopefully it'll work.
Thank you. And that's how that, so they will turn the flashlight on for yes, turn it off for no. Did you used to work here? Can you please turn the flashlight on?
Oh.
Thank you. Are you still working? Turn the flashlight on for yes, please. Thank you. And just kind of remember the time frame we're working with. We're working with people that are used to like yes, no's, please, thank you. So can you please turn that all the way off so we can ask you some more questions? I know I've got a lot of people here that want to know a lot about you. Can you turn that off? Please? Does anybody have any questions?
Did you love your job?
That was a quick, brief yes.
The guy here?
Are you alone?
Are there more than 4 of you in here?
Is there at least one other person here with you?
Is your name Paul? Turn that flashlight on for yes if your name is Paul. Yep.
Are you alone here, Paul?
Do you like when people like us come to visit?
Thank you, Paul. We like visiting you. Can you turn that off so we can ask you some more questions, Paul? Can you step away from that flashlight, Paul? Thank you.
Are you from Cleveland, Paul? That's an emphatic yes.
Can you turn that off for us, Paul? Just step away from it. Thank you.
Are the Browns gonna do any better?
Were the Browns any good when you were alive, Paul? Yes. Oh, not anymore.
Let go of the flashlight, please. I asked one time to turn it, I said just a little bit more, and they literally, like that, how he did it a little bit. So sometimes they like to be little jokesters.
Were you here when the murders happened?
Oh yeah, the Cleveland torso murders.
Was that before your time?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul. Can you please turn off the flashlight? We want to ask you some more questions, Paul. We need you to step away from that flashlight. Okay, you want to do the EVPs? We're going to do, and this one does not have to be a yes or no. It can be any question you want.
Like Chris said, who, what, where, when, why. Any questions you might have. You can ask for favorite food if you want. Anything. There's no stupid questions. Just I ask that when you're asking, we're gonna do a pause between each question, 10 to 15 seconds, because sometimes it takes a while for them to answer. And try not to whisper or try not to move around too much while we're doing this, because it'll pick up everything. You can have someone whisper 20 feet away, and it'll pick up the whisper, and that's what an EVP sounds like, is someone whispering. So we don't want any contamination for any possible answers.
After our flashlight session, our group also did EVPs, or electronic voice phenomenon, to try and capture faint verbal answers to our questions. Using digital recording devices, our group asked Paul, or whoever else might have been around, specific questions, waiting several seconds between each. The idea is that when the recordings are played back, sometimes faint voices can be picked up, voices that were not heard by the human ear when the questions were originally asked. See if you can hear anything at all in the recordings. It may have been that our overexcited group asked Paul too many questions way too quickly.
What year do you think it is?
Do you like being alone?
Did you have a family?
Is there more than one of you here?
Did you like working here?
Are you a boy, a girl, or a dog?
What was your favorite thing to do when you weren't working?
Were you married?
Sounds like there's a girl here.
Would you like a question?
Do you want to ask a question? Is there a girl here?
Did you own a car?
Did you like apple pie?
What year did you pass away?
Can you tell us why you're here?
After the session in the supply room, our group also did a session on the old Mount Baxter passenger car out in the actual roundhouse. The spirit of an old woman supposedly haunts the car and is very protective of the bunk where she died in her sleep. For this trip, we used dowsing rods, which are held straight out in front of a user, in an attempt to communicate with spirits. Supposedly, spirits can push the rods to cross over to answer questions or point the rods in specific directions. We did experience some activity in the Baxter car, but sadly, the footage was too dark to pick up on visuals to show you all here. For that, you may just have to sign up for one of the summer paranormal nights and check it out yourself. The website and address for the MPRS is in the description below. If you're ever in Cleveland on any of those dates, it's a fantastic thing to experience and I highly recommend it. After all was said and done, and the storm had passed through, I left the Roundhouse, the amazingly knowledgeable volunteers of the MPRS, and the ORBS team behind, amazed by just how active the spots we visited truly were. Too much had happened there to write it off as coincidence, and given the first-hand experiences that so many in attendance had, coupled with the things the gear had picked up, it was totally clear that some kind of activity was going on here. That said, as I mentioned before, you'll have to head out to West 3rd Street, down in the train yards deep in the Cleveland Flats, to visit the folks at the Midwest Railway Preservation Society and get a taste of it yourself. Put it on your bucket list, as it was well worth the trip and definitely worth the price. With that, this is Mr. P signing off, telling you to leave a light on tonight. Or not. And to keep on exploring wherever you go.